evening, Zinger Nation. My name is Logan, and I'd like to welcome you all to Web3 Anarchy, the show where we talk to the coolest people in the space. If you guys are new around here, make sure to subscribe, smash the like button, especially if you learned something. Today, we are joined by Scott Kelly, incredible person, incredible experience, and he's getting into the Web3 space. Not the only space he's been to. We'll learn more about that in a second, but I'd like to bring on the host of the show, Justin. How are you today?
What's up, Logan? How are you? That was a pretty smooth dad joke there. That was awesome.
Thank you so much. I'm working on my dad jokes. Not working on being a dad though. I'm a little bit too young for that.
Wait. That's what I say. We have an exciting guest today, Scott Kelly. Well, tomorrow, April 12th, is International Day of Human Spaceflight, which is fantastic. And today we have a legendary astronaut joining us. Kelly spent 520 days in space, which means that up until 2016, he held the record for the most time spent in space. He commanded 4 missions, or I think 3 missions, for the International Space Station.
Amazing. All right, I'm going to roll the intro. We'll have Scott on when we come back. Stay tuned.
Hello. Hi, Mr. Kelly. Thanks for joining us today. How are you?
I'm good. You can call me Scott.
Hi, Scott. So you've had an incredible career, and I should have mentioned, of course, why you're on Web3 Anarchy today. We're also going to be talking about an NFT drop that you're doing that ties in with Ukraine, which is wonderful to raise money to try and help those people. And were you holding up the T-shirt? Are those your nephew's T-shirts?
Yeah,
I saw that on your Twitter account. Good. We'll talk about that. But I think that's fantastic that you're doing that. Of course, to introduce you to, of course, you hardly need an introduction. You have quite a body of accomplishments behind you. And so, as I had said earlier, you participated in 3 expeditions that were the International Space Station. Have up until 2016 had spent more time in space than any other person. Now you are doing a release of 3,333 one-of-one NFT illustrations, and also some space memorabilia as well, from what I understand. And that's dropping tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. The sale begins tomorrow.
That's correct, Justin. Most of what you said is right.
Okay. I tried.
So I'm not going to correct you though.
What's it? Where did I make a mistake? How many days?
So until recently, a week or so ago, I had the record for the longest flight on the International Space Station by an American. I've never had the record for the most days in space by a person.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter. Records are made to be broken.
It's incredible, though. I mean, you did a stretch that was near. I don't want to be nearly right about this, but it's about 340 days at one. What must that be like? That must be amazingly taxing, to say the least. The recovery from that must be amazing.
It's a pretty hard thing to do. It's a challenging experience when you're in this, enclosed environment for that long a period of time where you can't go out. Basically you don't have much of anything that Earth has to offer, which basically is everything. But that's what makes it great. I mean, that's what I liked about it, is that it was a really, really hard and challenging thing to do. And that was the best part about it.
Well, that's fantastic, and you're here to talk to us today about this NFT drop. So obviously, given your experience, you also have a background as an engineer, test pilot as well. You've had a lot of experience with pushing the boundaries, literal and metaphorical, of where humans can go and what humans can do. Is it waxing too poetical to say? I mean, is Web3 is digital ownership? Is this a new frontier? for us, in your opinion, Scott?
Yeah, I agree. I'm, I think, an explorer by nature, and I think that Web3 and the metaverse and NFTs and digital currency is, an exploration in new technology, and I think it has the potential to be, maybe as big as the internet was when it became an integral part of our lives. So I got involved with cryptocurrency probably about 6 years ago. I started to, once I left NASA, I had a little bit of spare time on my hands. So I started to explore that a little bit. And I think, these NFTs and, the potential they have in a lot of areas, and certainly blockchain, I think, has an incredible amount of potential in many areas of our lives. But, I think the NFTs can be used for a lot of good. In my case, I consider myself, someone who likes to inspire people, kids especially, that they can do things that, might be beyond what they think they're capable of. And I think there's a place for that in the metaverse. And I think NFTs might be it.
Scott, I assume you're a pretty big fan of science fiction. Where do you see the metaverse playing out long term?
I think it has the potential to become an integral part of our lives, as an example, if you wanted to, go shop at the mall, you can just put on your headset and go shop in the mall, but stay in your house. Maybe, there's advantages to doing that, visiting places, meeting people, collaborating, like we're doing here. It might be, more productive if felt like we were sharing the same space. I think there are things that we haven't even considered yet that could become valuable parts of our lives.
Anything in particular?
Well, years ago I was thinking, particularly about blockchain and how, we live in a post-truth world where, everyone's an expert. And, I heard this from my friend's cousin on Facebook, and it told me that, this pandemic is not real or whatever. And, I think the blockchain could have the potential for validating information, where you could know what the source is. I've been talking about that for a while. In the beginning, I was thinking, well, maybe I could try to, turn that into something useful, but I don't know if I'm talented enough to do that. So I like to talk about it. Imagine, looking at an article or looking at something from Facebook and knowing absolutely where it came from. And it wasn't your friend's cousin's, guy that you saw on Facebook. It was like Reuters or AP or some government or whatever.
Right. Yeah, it certainly puts people in the position of having to do the due diligence, and in a sense, it's like we have such a glut of information now. Well, I don't mean to imply that there really is such a thing. Hypothetically, it's too much information, but we certainly take in a faster stream of information than I think we as humans are generally able to process and verify, and it puts us in that position. So the idea of being able to verify that with something like an NFT, with some other tokenized identification, that's a really interesting idea. Yeah, that I can see how that would be an interesting thing. Now you've got a drop coming up, of course. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that and how the genesis for this idea started? It's related to the Ukraine. So is this something that you put together fairly quickly, or is it something you were considering doing and then pivoted to raising money for the Ukraine with it?
Well, it was certainly something I had thought about for a while, because I do think there's a space there in this digital space for, for people to get their messaging out to. In my case, my message would be to try to inspire people that they can do things that they might not be capable of doing. I started off as a bad student. I couldn't pay attention at school, didn't do well. And it wasn't until I found inspiration in the words of Tom Wolfe's book, The Right Stuff, that, he made me feel like I could really do something with my lives. And it was a real turning point for me. And I felt like, doing that in a digital way and with NFTs could be valuable to people. So I started thinking about it. And then when the war in Ukraine happened, I thought, well, what better way to try to, introduce myself into this, but also at the same time to raise money for this, charitable organization called the Global Empowerment Mission that will support, families and causes that are affected by this Ukrainian, just illegal and immoral war. So yeah, I think it was kind of a perfect timing and very synergistic for me to do at least kick this off with a big fundraiser that also includes some space memorabilia, Russian space memorabilia that I'd like to include as part of it. The individual NFTs are, we call them dreams out of this world. So there are, thoughts I've had and places I've seen from space and things that I've enjoyed on Earth to have a little bit of a messaging, not just cool artwork, not just the digital tokenized aspect of it, but also something that hopefully will inspire.
It's interesting you say that, Justin, if you don't mind me jumping in for just a second. Like I was inspired by NFTs and crypto. Like I was kind of following the traditional path, go to university, do this and that. But then I saw crypto come along, and like I've been interested in it for a very long time. But it wasn't until the past year or two when I really realized that this is something that can become my rocket ship, right? So you mentioned, one, this is a great way to do good, but also to get your name into the NFT space. What was your desire to get into the NFT space? What do you want to do in the Web3 NFT space long term?
Well, I just think it's going to be part of our society, and like the internet has become integral.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the sooner you get involved, the more established you will be. And yep. I would just like to use it as another way to inspire. I got on April 12th, tomorrow, I also have this book that's being published. It's mm-hmm. like a graduation book for kids that has messaging and little stories about my life and hopefully lessons that they will learn from. And I think we can do, something similar to this or even other books I've wrote, but do them, in the NFT space as well. I think it's just going to be has the potential to be a very large part of our future. And I think there's a good place for this kind of messaging.
Couldn't agree more.
And is that the audience that I saw? That I think that is you did a book of photography before that, and you had another book before that. So this is your third book, if I'm not mistaken.
No, this is number 6. I have a few kids books. I have a memoir that was kind of like my first main book. I have a picture book, and this is the 6th one. I don't know what I'll do next. Maybe I'll write a book about NFTs.
Well, you could write a book and release it as NFTs. That would be good.
Well, that's actually a bad idea.
Well, sure. That actually could be a lot of fun. But you said something about this being directed toward graduates. That's who you see as. So this is. I saw the hook, of course. Lessons that you've learned from your time in space. It sounds like the kind of thing that could apply to entrepreneurs as well. But were you thinking specifically directly of graduates, young people, sort of choosing their direction?
Well, I think the book clearly is more of the target audience is like, younger folks that are, graduating from high school, graduating from college, getting established. I think the potential audience for the NFTs is just anybody. And, but I still want them to have, certain messaging in it, but not for a specific demographic. Now I have had, adults that have read this book and they like it too. So maybe it's a book. So it's really for anybody, right?
Well, that's fantastic. So there is some generative artwork that's going on with each image being a one of one. Where did the art come from? Where is that? Where's the artwork behind this drop coming from?
Yeah, so I've been working with a company called Orange Comet, and they are pretty well, I think, established in this NFT space, but working with their designers on
Mhm.
NFTs.
But is there a commentary in sense like you've kind of got like the same image of of an astronaut sort of looking out the window, and then you sort of change what console he's in front of, and you change the color pattern all around him. Oh, thank you, Logan. See, there you go. That Logan is
Gotcha.
always more on the ball than me. So there are just a few examples of them there. Does it say something to you about the experience? I mean, having spent so much time, like it's got to be, like all these different perspectives, kind of taken from the same thing, or like
Yeah.
stillness to it.
Yes, certainly. Like things I've seen, things I've thought, things I've dreamed about while I was in space. One of my books, I had a lot of my space dreams in there, and but it's just places and causes that are important to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's fantastic. And of course, you also worked in some memorabilia into this drop, and rather significant pieces too. You've got various parts of the actual suit coming up. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I included some of my space flown items as part of the auction, the initial drop that will raise money for Ukraine. They're Russian items that I kept after my mission. It's a set of gloves for the Russian Sokol suit, which is the launch and entry suit. All these I flew on my Expedition 25 and 26 mission, which was
Mm-hmm.
my third flight into space. There's also the comm cap that you wear underneath the helmet,
Mm-hmm.
and a wool flight suit that you wear in the Soyuz. So, those three items will be auctioned off separately. And, hopefully we'll raise a good amount of money along with the NFTs to support the global empowerment mission and the good that they will do with that money in Ukraine.
Mm-hmm. And is there a commentary in specifically, selling the memorabilia that is from? I mean, I'm sure that you have a lot of admiration and regard for the Russian cosmonauts that you worked with as well, which must create some feelings about this. What's the statement in releasing those pieces as the memorabilia that you're auctioning off?
Yeah, right. It's not really like there's no like hidden message like,
Right.
oh, this is Russian stuff. I need to get rid of it. It's actually located in the items are actually at Space Center Houston in Houston, Texas, that are on loan to them from me. So yeah, it's not like I'm trying to unload them. I still have some other personal stuff that I'll keep forever, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just the big items that I have right now that I thought, and it does have obviously it has a connection to Russia. Clearly, the Russian items. The reason this is so important to me, though, is that I have Ukrainian family members, like you mentioned, with the fundraising that they're doing. They are, first generation. Their father came from Ukraine when he was 10 years old. So they have Russian speaking Ukrainians that have very strong ties there. I have Ukrainian friends. I have Russian friends. Certainly the Ukrainians are going to suffer the most here. But, the Russian people, some of them are very good people, will suffer too as a result of, one person's, Putin's obsession. So, yeah, like, just kind of going back. Yeah, no hidden message that it's a Russian stuff. It's just like really cool, space memorabilia. And the person that wins the auction can either take possession of the items, or if they want to leave them at Space Center Houston for a while, put their name on the plaque that they're the owners, and they'll know where they
Mm-hmm.
are, and it'll be completely their choice.
It's really interesting. I mean, it goes to show just another small way in which NFTs have kind of opened up sort of different forms of ownership that people hadn't really considered before. Now you've got retail investors who would look into this thing who probably wouldn't have thought of collecting such a piece of memorabilia before. So really fascinating. Um, You have been an advocate for human rights and for the environment. Is this, in a sense, is that your continued pursuit of human potential to, stand up for the rights of people and so forth?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big believer in that we are all, we're all equal. We should all be respected as part of humanity. And when you see, stuff, right now, the most horrific things you could imagine going on in Ukraine, there's, after World War II, the whole never again saying, well, I guess that didn't last too long, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm a big believer in, equal rights and opportunities for everybody. And, and, and that we live on this incredible planet and we all live here together and we need to take care of the earth and take care of each other.
Hmm. Absolutely. So you have accomplished obviously amazing things. There are a lot of creative people who are not only participating in the space, swimming in these waters, for collecting NFTs and so forth, but are looking to launch projects, be involved in projects. It seems like it's bringing a lot of people in. It's interesting to me, having been told, I really loved space when I was younger. Like I was really interested in it in grade school. I was assured that astronauts were people who had been aiming to be and training to be an astronaut their entire lives, been working toward that goal their entire lives because it's such an incredibly high bar to reach. So I thought it was an interesting part of your story that you felt like really you didn't have a lot of focus about what you wanted to do until you read the right stuff. What's your advice for people who are probably also technologically oriented in the NFT space and are looking to do something significant, with their own lives? What about in terms of finding their own focus? What advice would you have for them?
For me, what I think was, I can only speak from my own experiences, but, it was important for me to find inspiration. It was then important for me to, work really hard, understand, what the requirements were of the career I wanted to have, do the absolute best job I could at all times. Try to never have regrets of like, well, I wish I would have done this better or that better. I mean, just really, dedicate your life to it. Understand that there's stuff can be scary when you're learning something new. Understand that taking risk and even being willing to fail is an important trait for people that become successful. Um, Understanding that we're all humans. We all have things we're good at, the good things that we're not good at. Respecting one another. I've
Mhm.
learned throughout my career that diversity, having a diverse group of people, really is a secret to a successful organization. So, but I think the most important thing is just never give up on yourself.
I love that. Scott, I have a space question for you. So I've heard this statistic a bunch of times. It's like the first moon landing, the rocket ship had the computer power of like a calculator, right? I don't know if that's at all accurate, but now we have so much better technology, yet we haven't been anywhere new. Do you think this is a mistake? Do you think that we have to break through another limit to actually get somewhere new?
No, I think we have like the technology to go to Mars. There's certain some challenges, and my brother used to say, you know, and maybe he still does say it. He's busy now with a different job, but he used to say that going to Mars is not about rocket science; it's about political science.
Hmm.
Meaning that you need the political support, which really means you need the public support to vote for science-minded and individuals that believe in the importance of space flight. But I think technologically speaking, going to Mars is not as challenging as we might think. Certainly there's risks with radiation exposure that we'll have to figure out a way to protect the astronauts from that.
Mhm.
Maybe a little bit better than we understand now, but it's clearly not a showstopper. So I think more it's Logan, it's about our desire to do it, really, in our will and our political will.
It's interesting because I think blockchain adoption, crypto adoption is also at the same place where we're kind of waiting on government regulation to see where to go next. It's more of a political science issue. Back to the real science, though. What are you most excited to see from the James Webb Telescope?
Oh my God, it's like advertised to be 100 times more powerful than Hubble.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Hubble. My first flight was a Hubble Space Telescope repair mission, and to
Wow.
see Hubble, up close and thinking, what it's taught us about our place in the universe, which is, very insignificant. I mean, maybe it'll teach us we're 100 times more insignificant than we thought. But it might actually show us that there is organic compounds in the atmospheres of some exoplanets, which would be kind of sort of a game changer, for what our place is and the potential for life in the universe. So I think having a telescope that powerful, that, by the way, I mean, the team just did an incredible job. I mean, the numbers of miracles that had to happen to get that thing operating, and they're still checking it out, but I think it's going to be just an amazing part of our just an amazing part of our culture and our society, what we learned from James Webb.
What we learned might be pretty scary, right? We might have confirmation that there's other life out there, that we're not the only intelligent life, and that maybe the great filter is in fact ahead of us. What's your take right now? I know it's 1,000,000,000% speculation, right? Is the filter ahead, or have we passed it?
I'm not sure I follow the filter.
Basically, the thing that stops life from becoming, fully in charge of their solar system.
Yeah, you've kind of, I think you've kind of reached beyond my ability to comprehend your question.
Might be a little bit too deep on the YouTube rabbit holes with these terms here. But I guess what I'm looking for is like, what would you think if we did see some organic matter out there?
Well, I think it's probably out there, but you don't know until you know, right? For sure. But I do believe that we are probably not unique in this universe, considering the numbers. And if you think that, well, if there's life in one other place, which James Webb might be able to tell, then there's probably life all over the place, or at least in really abundant numbers. If you consider the size of the universe, the numbers of galaxies, and the numbers of stars in those galaxies and potential planets. Just finding one, I think, to me, would tell me there is life everywhere.
So this telescope is our best shot at discovering life out there?
I don't know about that. I'm not an expert in extraterrestrial intelligence or extraterrestrial life. I do know, though, like if you consider like SETI type stuff, or I read somewhere that if you considered our ocean as the visible sky, and what we've explored looking for life so far is like if you took a glass of water and you looked in it and there was no life in there, that's how much we've actually searched. So hopefully Webb will help us do that a little bit better.
Awesome.
So we have a question, of course, and of course we want to make this clear anyway. Like, where should people go to participate in this NFT drop? Like, where do you want to send people to support this and support the people of the Ukraine?
OpenSea.
Okay, so it is all available on OpenSea. You don't have a separate URL or anything like that you want to direct people to?
I found this online.
Yeah.
Kelly Art, I guess, links to
it.
Yeah,
and Orange Comet, you could find the appropriate information there as well. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Is it also on your Twitter profile, or are you promoting this with your Twitter profile?
It should be. I'm not sure if it's there right now, but
okay, but we can put it there.
Yeah. We have the technology.
And you are, I'm just looking for your at right now. You are
Station CDR, Kelly.
Right.
Yes.
Linked in the chat. You guys should go follow him.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming and talking to us. Oh, by the way, the proceeds are going to the Ukrainian people. Is there a specific NGO or a nonprofit that you're working with?
It's called the Global Empowerment Mission.
Okay. All right. Well, perfect. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us about this. Good luck with the drop tomorrow. I hope it goes exceedingly well. And thank you very much for taking the time to be here today. We really appreciate it. It's been exciting to talk to you.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Scott.
All right. Thanks, Scott.
All right.
Wow, that was way too cool.
I know. It's like I want to be like, what does space feel like? Like I'm distracted by all the sophomore questions I want to ask about space, but I still want to know, Logan. Like, does it still feel like a vast expanse when you're out there? Because I've always wondered. Like, it's interesting. I mean, it's kind of a tangent between blockchain and space exploration, right? But in spiritually, the two groups are kind of aligned. You've got people who are both looking for sort of opportunity in the new frontier.
Yeah, I thought that was one of the most interesting things we talked about, was that there are so many parallels between these two spaces. The desire to push yourself, to try new things, to be curious, right? These are driving factors that, all of us experienced, right? Whether if it was at NASA or at Benzinga, right? I thought it was really inspiring to hear his message, as well as that the point of this NFT project is just to continue to push kids to try new things, to push themselves, right? And maybe that's not space, maybe it's NFTs, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. But the message there being consistent is just do good things, be a good person.
I mean, it goes to show, aside from the fact that it allowed us to inject a little bit of personality into what otherwise was a bunch of ICOs, right? Like, that's what NFTs have given us. But they've also given us this stream of like creative and people with all sorts of disciplines coming into the space. So it's just really exciting. So everyone, go out there, check out scottkellyart.com. Check out his drop happening tomorrow. It's supporting the Ukrainian people, which I think is incredibly important right now. They are in a fight for their lives, after all. And thank you so much for everyone for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. If you learned something, hit the like. If you didn't, hit the like button anyways. Helps us out. And make sure you subscribe to the Benzinga channel if you're not already. Hit us up on Twitter if you want to chat with us. If you have any guest recommendations or feedback, let us know in the DMs. Justin, this was awesome. Thank you so much for setting this up, for bringing it here home to Benzinga. Do you have any closing thoughts to leave us with?
Just that, honestly, I don't know if I've ever been so starstruck by a guest.
I could tell just a tiny bit, but if I didn't know you, I wouldn't have known. But
oh well, that's good. At least I tried to cover it up. But no, he was great. So thank you everyone for watching, and you have a great day. Come and see us Friday at 5 p.m. We will be having a venture capitalist come in and talk to us about fundraising during this sort of rocky 2022 that we're having. So we'll look forward to that.
See you there.
All right. Thank you.